guys, if you're just jumping in and you're joining us, let me know what is the size of your group, what it is that is your niche. And I'm super excited to be talking to Ryan today and dive a little bit deeper into your story. So this interview is going to be chill. I love interviewing clients at different stages of their wins. So this is like, all right, the very first stage. And I love to be able to stitch together the stories of like your second, your third, your bigger wins. It's just amazing. So let's, before we dive into that, let's rewind back time and talk about how or what got you into this crazy world of Facebook groups, of monetization. Give us a little backstory about, you know, Ryan and Allyson, even though she's not here, she's here in spirit. And Laura just says, real estate, tiny group. Hey, what's up, Laura? All right, take it away, Ryan.
Okay, so we stepped into, my wife and I, Allyson, who, like Kim said, she's not here right now. She prefers to stay in the background, which many of you may resonate with a little bit. But we stepped into the world of entrepreneurship earlier this year, and I stepped into mentorship and to one-on-one coaching and things like that. And I was fortunate enough to leave my 9-to-5, and within that first month, I had generated about $80,000, which was crazy. It took me to, you know, a whole different realm, so to speak. And then since then, you know, just continuing on this journey, our goal has been, you know, how can we reach more people? How can we provide transformation in the lives of as many people as possible? And so trying out different methods of acquisition, it was like, man, it would be really cool to have a group. It would be really cool to have a group and to be able to create a community, and not just that, but be able to, you know, extend an offer to those people and to serve them with where they're at. And so that's kind of how we stumbled upon QuickLinkConvert. And you, Kim, was my wife actually saw an ad and she was like, oh, this is for us. This is the thing. So that's kind of like the short story of how we got here, and then now being in QuickLinkConvert, it's been amazing so far.
Oh, I love it. So you did $80,000. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I was not ready. I'll tell you what, I was not ready for that. I had to completely like work backwards, because I was actually I was an executive director for a nonprofit, and then stepped into entrepreneurship. And then I was like, okay, well, now I know how to like do a thing, but I don't know really how to continue to do a thing, you know? So it was crazy.
Yeah. So with my interviews, I like to dive a little bit deeper into the detail. When you did 80,000 and you're like, I don't know how to continue doing a thing. What do you mean by that? Because, you know, when people get a taste of like this online world selling high ticket, some of them feel like they can do it consistently. Whatever the vehicle is makes them confident. What is it about, you know, if you were still, what is it about that, what you did made you still go, you know what, it would be cool if we could find consistency in this, you know, in this world, even though you did $80,000. That's a great accomplishment. So what is it about the path that you took that made you continue looking for a more consistent vehicle?
Yes, that's a really, really good question. And I like one of the first things you said, describing the vehicle. And that's, I think, what I've learned through this journey so far, is that it's really important to be aligned with the method of acquisition for clients. Because for all of us, you know, we have, you know, eventually we learned that we didn't personally need to be in the DMs all day long. And, you know, we brought on a VA and took a lot of those steps. But ultimately for me, I found that when I was doing things for acquisition, whether it was, you know, constant cold DMs or even like attempting to step into paid ads a little bit earlier than I maybe should have, you know, making those mistakes and learning like I need to find something that is aligned with my identity, aligned with what I want. And for me, just for context, like I'm somebody that, I've been stage speaking for about 4 years now. It's something that I love to do. I love people. I love to have conversations from stage and impact people in those moments and create moments for people. And so, something like this, finally getting to a place where we're doing these 5-day challenges and I have the opportunity to engage with, it's one to many. I have the opportunity to engage with a lot of people at once and share what I've learned, which is what we did with this first launch. It was simply, all it was just like, hey, you guys, like, here's what I did. Here's what I learned to get where I am, and just like being able to offer that value. So, I think like that's as far as the path and the journey, the most important thing that I've learned is finding a method that works for you, not just looking around and saying, oh, well, this guru or that guru or this person does this, and and they're already at 6 figures a month, so I'm going to do that because I want to make that much. Well, you got to find what works for you. So I hope that answers your question.
No, that definitely answers my question, because you can make a lot of money doing brute force. I actually got off of, I was in the other building, and right after my interview they interviewed Tanner. And Tanner, he was telling his story. His name is Tanner Chidester.
I'm familiar.
You're familiar? Okay, yeah. And so he got interviewed, and he's like, he came from the cold door-to-door sales world. So he is the wake up at 5 a.m., brute force your way into a million cold DMs to get to a certain level, and that works for him. That's his energy, and that's the vehicle that he started with. Now he's in ads and everything, but it's so important when you are starting out to absolutely find the vehicle that works for you. If it doesn't resonate with you to be hitting the DMs brute force every single day, and it resonates with you more to pitch one to many in a stage format, I personally feel like especially if you are starting out, and even if you're not starting out, you made $80,000. You made quite a bit of change. It's like, will that vehicle light you up to revisit it again and again? Is it going to be something that you resonate with? And if it feels like it's going to be more of a grind or such a grind that you're not going to be waking up every day really excited to look forward to it, then there's all these other vehicles that will work, and we just happen to be an expert in one of the vehicles that you resonate with. So I love that your wife saw the ad and she's like, that's it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so funny too, Kim. You know what? We were just talking about this earlier, and she was like, yeah, I saw the ad, and then I was watching a VSL, and I just wanted to book a call like right away. I just wanted my sales call like right then, but I had to like wait and think. And it's like, so we just knew like right away, oh my gosh, this is different. This is different. This is what we want. We want it different. So
I love that we are different. And that your process was like the ad to the ability to book a call. Sorry that you had to wait. We have a pretty booked calendar. Going to be hiring more salespeople for it, so you don't have to wait as long. But let's dive more into like, okay, the vehicle resonates with you, and then you're like, hey, I just showed up. So take me into like how, after you got into the program, and thank you for saying that it's been great. So, and again, I like to dive into the details. So you got into the program, what happened? How did you consume the information? How did you go about implementing it? What made it feel great for you?
So when we entered the program, we had access to like hundreds of hours of course material. And I think, I had thought about this earlier too. Like, what about this experience has been so has been so great too. And I think one thing that I really love is, number one, that, you know, you're in this like private, you have this private community with, yeah, somebody just said Michael and Brittany. Yeah, like that has been the best, like being able to have access to multiple, you know, like people that are coaching us and providing support. And, you know, you kind of like come in and you just are like, there's so much support that you're like, oh, how could I ever fall through the cracks? You know, which I think is an issue that a lot of other programs have, is keeping people from falling through the cracks. And so I think you've done an amazing job with that. And that's honestly a huge part of what's made us successful. In fact, I will say shout out to Michael, because we had a call, 2 calls with him. The first one especially, we were really struggling with just some of the messaging for a newer offer that we had created. And we're like, gosh, something's not right here. Like, you know, we just don't feel like, you know, we don't feel like our messaging is landing for the right audience. And he just was able to really just like so smoothly, so quickly, you know, take a glance at everything we were doing from that 20,000 foot view and say, look, you guys, like, just do this, you know, just try this. How does this sound? And give us options for different things to try until we finally were able to say like, oh, okay, this is what our ideal client wants. This is what our ideal client needs to hear. And so honestly, just the support along the way of this path of being in the program has been tremendous. And a huge part of our success in our first launch. We didn't expect to, and we, like, for context, just for those who are listening, like we did a launch, we came in and launched like 2 weeks later, which we tend to do that. My wife and I were like, we're going to try something that normally people would wait a month or 2 to try, and we're going to do it like right away. But like, you know, we closed $11,000 just in that first launch with 2 weeks of notice. And it was because the team honestly was willing to work with us and do what they could to accommodate that goal, regardless of it being such a short timeline. So yeah, it's been great. The support itself has been great.
I love it. And I love that you are like, when I tell my team, you are the client you attract. When I tell my clients, you are the client you attract. You are literally the type of client I am. Like, I go into a program, I'm like, what do I got to do? Got to do this right away, fast. Yeah. Like, whatever it is, just tell me the way there. I don't need to watch a bunch of videos. I need to do all these things. Just get me there. And you guys are exactly like that. So I love it. I want to go into like, okay, so it was 2 calls with Michael. How many videos do you watch? What did you actually do? And, you know, it's okay if you're like, Kim, it was just a call. Okay. And then we just went and did it, brute force. You know, tell me. And the reason why I'm asking this type of question is because I get asked all the time, like, Kim, do I have to like make things perfect? Do I have to watch like 30 hours of videos? Do I have to do this and that? What is it that I have to do to get this? Because, you know, we are a return on investment kind of offer. You know, we are like, hey, come in, do your launch, do your pitch, you're going to convert. And they are not so convinced. So for those type of people, tell me a little bit about your consumption and how you just went for it.
Yeah. So having access to all the course material was huge. And so with you guys' implementation of like the 3.0, which is like the newer modules, it was really, really easy to go through and just see like, okay, you know, like watch each video, and they're so short, like they're really short, really easy to watch, really straightforward. So being able to do that, and, you know, we just went through like most of the videos in the 3.0 and just in that week, right? Like, keep in mind, like we only had so much time. So like, and also managing the business, I literally cannot watch coursework all day long. And so we just watched as much as we could and kept in mind that like, hey, it's honestly where success comes is from imperfect action. We can sit around and like, you know, think about things all day long, but ultimately if we don't take action and just, you know, watch as much as we can with the time that we have implement and lean on the support, like that was what we did. So as far as consumption, yeah, we definitely took advantage of the coursework. And then I think just watching some of the information from 2.0, where there's like just hundreds and hundreds of things you can watch, like that was helpful, being able to scroll through and see like, what am I struggling with? Like, where's a pain point for me right now? And finding a video that corresponded with it, watching it and getting the result, and then just like, okay, I'm going to go implement right now. And the other thing too is like, you know, we by the end of it, our pop-up group had like 28 people. And that's where we closed our offer from. So, you know, like 28 people, 11K. Like, I think that ends up being pretty decent. So like it should provide so much hope for somebody else, because like, first of all, please, like, don't try to do it like us, you know, like I wouldn't recommend it. If you have to, go ahead, but definitely take your time if you can, because if you can create the pop-up group and get it to like, say it's, you know, double that, it's 50 something, like that could be 22K for a tiny group of like 50 something people, you know, the possibilities are endless. So again, yeah, we took advantage of as much of the courses that you've made available. But really the biggest thing was just taking action. So
I love that, Ryan. I love that you mentioned we do iterate and iterate. So we have version 3.0, which is super step-by-step. And I love that, because then we used to have the problem of not having it be so step-by-step. And we would get questions from clients going, all right, what's my very next step? And it would be very like team labor intensive until that was 3.0 was created. And after 3.0, it's like, wow, this is, you literally go in and you watch the very next thing. And, you know, I actually recommend what you said, don't do it like us. I actually recommend do it exactly like you guys. Like when you come in, you should be gunning for it. Doing your launch in the first 2 weeks, freaking go. Because after that first initial launch, I mean, how did you feel? So much hope, right? Mm-hmm. You know that now you don't have to build up a huge audience in order to monetize. You can do this again and again. And the great news is there's so much more that you guys don't know that's in store, like the benefits of ads, filling up the group. What if ads can consistently fill up that group to, instead of the 28 that you have, 400, 500, 600? What is the level of conversion that you can do just based on math alone that can happen at that number? So I'm really excited for the future to come for you guys. So a question I want to ask you is, you know, were there times of moments of doubt? It seems like, you know, everything is all positive and great and you just go for it. But can you describe like when something went wrong, or if you didn't know something? I think you touched on it a little bit, and then Michael jumped on a call with you where you're like, I don't know if this offer will land. What are the snags that you encountered, and then how did you overcome that?
So one of the first snags that we had was, it was getting down, because, you know, doing organic, we're sending messages to people saying like, hey, you know, starting a conversation, hey, would you be interested in joining this group, blah, 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 blah. And one of the first snags we had was that the message we were sending, inviting somebody to the group, you know, you kind of describe the benefits. You're like, hey, I'm hosting a 5-day challenge. These are the benefits you can expect. It's kind of like the concept of what you're saying. And those benefits like were just not, like, they weren't landing. And that's kind of what led us to needing help from Michael. And then Angel was like, how do we fix and that's why it was so helpful to have a copywriter that was available to like help us figure out what to say. Because then we were able to fix that and try a couple things and split test a couple different messages and see like, okay, which one is working the best? And then once we found one that was converting a lot higher, we just ran with that. So that was definitely one of the snags that we had. And then I would say a second thing, because it wasn't all like rainbows and sunshine for sure. I mean, it was hard work because we were trying to do it so quickly. It was exciting and Yeah. I think that was my wife. Yeah. We're still first day. Yeah. So that's huge. And that was something I wanted to say, was that the first day, there's a lot of nerves, right? Because I'm like, this is a whole, it's a whole new group of people. I ended up streaming to 2 groups at the same time, because our original group that we had started with only had like 200 people and they weren't super engaged. So the end, we're like, okay, we just need to combine these so we can stream to as many people as possible. And it's funny because, of course, the offer that we closed came from the tiny group. But, but I'm streaming to 2 groups. It's like, I don't know any of these people. This is so new. This is so different. And so the nerves were definitely there. And so then going into that first day and communicating for that hour, I felt kind of deflated, to be honest, because then like I didn't see as much engagement during the live as I had hoped for,
Yeah.
In my head. And we tend to be so, like, as humans, we tend to be so over optimistic, like, oh, I'm streaming to 228 people. I'm sure at least like, half of them will show up. And I think we had like at most it was like 8 or 9 people that were on live. And so like encountering that reality was like a gut check. And so at the end of that day, in the VIP session, I had like 2 people in it. And so at the end of that day, I was like, man, I could have done better. I was kind of beating myself up, but I just thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? Worst case scenario, I do this whole week. I have a lot of fun. I learned something new, and it's just reps, because as entrepreneurs, we know that one of the greatest teachers is repetition. And so it was like, I'm just going to have a positive mindset and be detached from the outcome. Like, I don't even care if I close anything at all. I'm happy either way, because I got to show up, share something that I really am passionate about. And, maybe one person shows up and gets value. And even if they don't buy, great, I helped one person, you know what I mean? So it was shifting that mindset. And then after that, the engagement went up by quite a bit. Like each day the engagement increased, and we ended up going from 2 people in a VIP to like 12. And that's a huge difference,
Yeah, it is.
So, but if I would have just given up on myself and said, this isn't going to work, like it never would have happened. So I think those are the 2 biggest things. Just having that issue with the messaging early on and getting that resolved, and then staying motivated and staying committed during the process itself of actually doing the challenge.
I love it. I love your energy, and I can see why you get more engagement as you go along. It's because and it helps that you've had so much practice speaking in real life, that now you can translate that over into what we're doing is we're really pitching from stage in this virtual environment. So I love that. So I want to ask you, Ryan, like, how is it working with your wife, with your partner, as you're going through this? Some people are listening in, and they might, they might be partnering up with someone for the first time. They might be going into this with another person, and they're probably thinking, should I do this by myself? Should I have a second person? Like, what was your experience, and how did you how did you 2 work in conjunction to have this pan out? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that question. So with my wife and I, we have found that we're like the inverse personalities, and that's for like if possible, your business partner should always be like the inverse personality of you, because they can do all the things that you're not skilled in. Or, whatever the case is. But I'm fortunate that she is the inverse of me. She's much more like, she's our chief of operations, right? So I'm like all stage, all speaking, all creativity, like making the offers, doing the fun stuff, as I would call it. And she's like, she goes nuts over doing all the busy work, actually sending the message, starting the conversations, posting in the groups, doing all those things. So that's kind of how, like, you can see kind of how we separated responsibilities. The best thing to do is simply, because I think, to be honest with you, I don't know that I would have been able to pull it off as well as I did. Now, I'm certain it would have been harder without her help, because I can only do so much. And even if I push myself and I'm working like a 10, 12-hour day, until the launch, like that's going to drain me right before a speaking engagement. And like, long hours like that have diminishing returns. So I think just, if you're going into it with a business partner or a spouse or girlfriend or whatever, boyfriend, like understanding roles, understanding, the other person is really skilled in this area. Like we have to have a mutual agreement. Like these are the things that I do. These are the things that you do based on our skills, not based on like, what we think or anything like that. And just kind of having that, verbal, at least agreement in place so that you're not, constantly fighting each other over who's doing what, or, I want to do this, I want to do that. Just work it out ahead of time and play to each other's strengths. So that's what we did, and it worked awesome.
I love that. And that kind of reminds me of, I'm binge watching Alex Hormozi and Layla, and I'm like, it kind of reminds me of them because you're the face and then she's the ops.
Yeah, and she's way smarter than I am. So.
Oh my gosh! Actually, I was the conversation I had with Tanner and Ravi, who's the podcast interviewer. They're very close with them, both Layla and Alex. And Layla is way more intense than Alex. Like she goes ham they're at the gym and she would just go ham, and then it would be her off day. So and Alex is like, yeah, that's her. Like she is like intense.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Well, Ryan, I want to one of the things that I do know is you have a Facebook group of 200 people, and you converted with the smaller, teenier one. So what if you turn back time and everything you know now? Would you still have enrolled? Would you still have gone through this process? Because some of the people, they come to me and they're like, well, that's great. Like Ryan has an audience. But what if I'm starting from scratch? What if they have probably some followers on Instagram or other vehicles and not a Facebook group? Would you still attempt this? Would you still be confident to being able to pitch and convert, even if you're starting from zero people in your group?
I think it would be, aside from like, having the group of 200 people already, like that's still a relatively small group. And then the group of 28 is like, that's teeny tiny, So I think honestly, in a lot of ways, it was almost more difficult for me having some fundamentals in place. And the reason why is because, being somebody that does one-on-one mentorship and that is in this game of changing lives and helping people and whatever online, like I, for example, am constantly inundated with differing, contrasting information. So for me, I had to come into this program and almost do information deprivation and only listen to the instructions I was given here. And a lot of people, they don't have that. They're able to okay, I can start from scratch. I can get the instruction and do things the right way. I had to undo things. You know what I mean? So it's difficult in its own way. It's not like, I wouldn't say that because I had the group or had the followers that it does help. Yes. But again, it's just a different circumstance. So I think this is perfect for somebody that, doesn't already have some of those pieces in play, because you're able to really build things from the ground up and do it the right way without making mistakes. For example, my group of 200, I didn't have any of the information that I have now that I've learned in this program. And so the way that I set up and structured the group led to a lot of disengagement. I didn't set it up in a way that created, an engaging, interested, active community. It was more just, 5 people engaging with posts and 195 on the bleachers eating popcorn, it was so I think, I think this is perfect for the person that doesn't have some of those pieces already in play.
I love it. You had to unlearn to learn. Let me turn on the lights. It's getting dark here. All right. Cool. Back. Yeah. So even especially if you are starting new, and guys, I see you guys watching. Let me know what is the size of your group. I really want to interact with you guys as well during this interview, because really this interview is as much to showcase Ryan's story, and we get to know who Ryan and Allyson are, and also to break beliefs, because one of the benefits of me watching and consuming like interviews is not just to get, cool golden nuggets and information, but to really be able to say, oh, I didn't know that was possible before. Oh, wow, it is possible. And I can do it too. It's something that I think it's a gift to you as a listener. So with that said, okay, without a large group, without a following, you can still do this from scratch. I want to talk about, in terms of your niche, why did you choose your specific niche, your specific, method, and then how did the way that we help you change your messaging, like what was actually the thing that like hit with your people? I like to go into the details with that.
So I have a bit of an interesting niche. What I do, I'll just explain kind of what I do. So what I do is I basically teach people to master their internal world in order to create external results. Some people would say, oh, you're a mindset coach. It's like, I don't really fit in a box, because the approach we take is completely holistic. So, somebody comes in and I teach them strategies and methods to create that internal mastery of the landscape inside. And then through that process, we have a process, it's called IAA. It's Identity Alignment Action. So we create this crazy transformation of the human being. And then after that, that's when we implement and apply business strategies or life strategies, productivity strategies, and all the things that create a life of their dreams, right? And so we take a kind of a different approach. A lot of times I say it's like, I'm basically like a surgeon for their mind and their soul. And so with that though, being that we do something that's kind of different, it's kind of hard to quantify. It's kind of hard to explain, or at least it was back then, especially, we could not figure out like how to explain what I know how to do in a way that was going to be easy to interpret for people, and so having like having Michael come along and say, okay, I see your process. I see what you do. To me, this is what I'm hearing. To me, this is what I think your audience is hearing right now. And he just like literally writing it out. Like, okay, here's all your deliverables. Here's your program. Here's the steps to get from the desired, from the place that they are to the desired, was like just going over all the information. And then him just providing that additional perspective. And Michael, having been somebody that's done this with so many people now, he's got a lot of tact and expertise, and he knows the right. That was the main thing. I forgot to say this, is that he asks really, really good questions. And sometimes it's not even that you necessarily need a different strategy. You just need somebody to start asking you the right questions. And that's what he did. So I don't know if that answers it well enough, but yeah, that was critical.
Yeah. And your wife says, I held him back because I thought everything had to be quantified, because I'm a very logical thinker. Michael helped me stop.
Yeah. So I'll speak to that. So what I do, because it's a lot of, it's a lot of like intertwined mindset, business, productivity. It's so many things at once that it's difficult to create, quantifiable, say like, I'm going to teach you to make this much in 30 days or whatever it is. Right. It's hard for me to do that because I do so many things at once. I have clients that walk away and say, now I'm able to take vacations. I just took my first vacation in 20 years. My marriage is healed. I have a better relationship with my son. We just went out to coffee for the first time in 10 years. I've heard things like that. I've heard, I had a client close a $50 million contract. I had a client, just hardly put in any effort at all, and then left with like 150% return in 8 weeks. And so all these crazy things happen. But again, it makes it hard to quantify. And so my wife, being so logical and being such a logical buyer, because we have to understand like how our audience makes purchasing decisions too. She was like, this just is so hard for me. It doesn't make sense. We can't sell like this. We can't market like this, blah, 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 blah. And Michael was, oh gosh, it was so funny. Michael was like, he's like, no. I started talking, right? I'm like, yeah, she's right. And he's like, no. Let's unpack this for a second. And he's like, so Allie, tell me more about that. Tell me, like, I want to know more about how you feel about, this offer. And she's like going on, and she's like, well, it just doesn't make sense. And he's, she's getting it all out. And at the end he goes, oh, great. So are you the ideal client? And she was like, no. And he's like, well, that kind of explains it. she's like, oh my gosh. And so we were able to make so much progress from there on, because like, it's not, you can't let your own mindset, you can't let your peers, you can't, even if it's your business partner, like you have to understand what your ideal client wants, what they need to hear, how they make purchasing decisions, what their pains are, like it's about them. And so don't get in your own way of speaking to them in the way they need to be spoken to, So that was huge. I forgot about that. Oh man.
That probably enabled you to truly, you guys both to truly sell this package.
Yeah, we unstuck.
You would like talk yourself out of that person wanting.
Yeah. Yeah, completely unstuck us for sure.
Oh, I love that. You know how you describe yourself as the surgeon? I describe what we do as the translator. We help translate your expertise, because the deeper you go down your rabbit hole, and like you said, you had to unlearn. It really is about unlearning how hypnotized you become into your own expertise and your own mastery, in order to talk to your ideal client so that they're hearing you and it resonates and it hits with them. So one of the biggest questions I always get asked is, Kim, my offer is not make money in like a month, just like yours. My offer is how to heal, how to channel their energy, how to get rid of trauma. And a lot of coaches come into this world with such a big heart because they want to heal first and then take care of business later. And you described it really well, saying that it takes someone who's done it for other people, who's done it for people who are non-money making offers, to come in and take a look at what you're doing, and then also stop the things that you're doing to sabotage yourself as well. That makes a big difference. And I wonder, how come, what you said that our program is different than other programs because of the support. Were there it makes me I'm like, how come other programs don't have this type of ability to be able to do that? Tell me a little bit about the differences, because someone listening in would maybe be on the fence or maybe don't have a clear picture, and this interview helps them paint a clear picture from your experience.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm extremely qualified to answer this question. You know why? Because I had shiny object syndrome like nobody's freaking business for such a long time. Like it was like, buy this program, buy that program, buy this, and I at this point, we just love the opportunities to learn from other people and learn different ways of doing things. And but being somebody personally that has been in 6 programs in the last year or something like that. No, not even a year, 8 months. There's a new, how do I say this? like a lot of programs do, they just have like group coaching, which is fine. You know, you can create a wonderful, amazing, transformational group coaching program. But some of the bigger programs that have more of these celebrity influencer type people, they grow to such a point that the level of proximity to support decreases significantly. Like, it's great to have an inner circle. It's great to do those things, but only if you're putting the, you're putting the systems in place to maintain accountability with the client, maintain client success, and make client success a focus, right? So for me personally, being in multiple other programs, there was either like so little one-on-one or, intimate support that I just felt like a number, or alternatively, there was like so little structure in general that I just had no idea where we were going, like at any given point. It was like, no, I didn't know what to expect in the next call. I didn't have consistent calls. It was just like, so confusing. So I think that this is a really good balance. You have, like, we as clients, we still get proximity to you, Kim, and you do that. I'm sure you do that intentionally so as to, create a culture of, genuine support. Like, it feels like you genuinely care about us. And that goes such a long way because, when we go on the VSLs and we see your VSL or we do your 5-day challenges, like, we're building trust for you. So having you continue to be a part of that, throughout our journey is critical, I think. And then also having, you built a team to create more success for clients, to keep them from falling through the cracks. And that's like, I see that and I feel that. And that's huge. That's huge for me. That's actually one of our favorite things about all this. So that's what I'd say. Like, stop, if you're listening on this interview right now, stop buying a bunch of programs that just make you feel like a number. It's not worth it. You're not going to see the results you want. So
I love that. And just to highlight your wife, she said, I love that this program is not just support for Ryan or even just support for Ryan and I. It's support for the whole team. Can you expand on that? What she's saying?
Yeah.
For the whole team.
Here was something cool that I thought you guys did was, like, when we came on board, we were asked, like, do you have team members? Do you have a VA? Do you have closers? Do you have setters? Blah, 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 blah. If so, we can, like, bring them on too, and they can get access to, like, all the training and all the things. And I had never had a program do that. I had never had a program consider my team, and it was just like such an additional layer of understanding, like, and they were so excited. They felt so special. They were like, oh, like, I get to do this too. It was just like, it was really cool to be able to offer that to them. Like, hey guys, we're doing this program and you've been invited to attend these sessions and to learn and to access the courses and blah, 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 blah. And they loved that. So I think that's what she's saying. It's just like, the fact that you guys considered our team members, like, who does that? It's super considerate. So.
Yeah, well, we've discovered that when you raise your prices and when you step into things, doesn't mean that their mindset and their ability catches up with you simultaneously as you make these changes. So one of the pivotal things that we've done is include your team because, without your team, it is going to be more of a struggle. And especially when you're playing telephone with them on the things that you learn, having these breakthroughs transcend both of you and blend into your team is such an important part of, like, your movement in general towards the next step. So that's why we invite them, because we understand their mentality won't catch up as fast as your breakthroughs.
Yes, that's so true.
And you said that I'm in there, and one of the things that I want to have people model after is that I'm not jumping on all of the calls. I'm not doing everything. Tell say how you want to say it. Like how often did I interact directly with you in this journey?
I think I wish Allie was on this call, because she does more of our communication with the Group Ignite team. But I remember there was a couple interactions there at the beginning, early in the onboarding stages. It was just like you popping in and leaving a message and saying, "I'm so excited for you guys," and blah blah blah, and kind of setting the tone, and then being in the Slack channel, and you're in that too. And so it's like just seeing, like, I think honestly, even like seeing, your name in there and knowing like we can message you, even though we don't, because we're like, we get so much support, we're not going to bother you for things, but like, like just seeing that as a possibility. And then I think just, communications here and there in Slack, like that's all, that makes a huge difference. So, no, you're not on every call, but we wouldn't expect you to be. Like, there's no way, you have so many clients, but the fact that you're still intentional and you check in and you do those things like that is super important to us.
I love that. There are a couple of questions that I want to see how you respond, knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
If, let's say that you didn't have the resources to jump in and you had to like take a credit card out or something like that, knowing everything you know now and how what we have inside. Because I get a lot of times like, hey, not now, because I don't know if the finances are going to cut it. And it's one of those things where I'm like, you're having this conversation with us because of, trying to figure out the finances. This is a way for you to actually have that consistent income. So it's kind of like chicken or egg scenario,
Yeah, that's funny.
but and it, coming from me, of course I'm biased. Of course I'm like, yes, get it, because
Sure,
we have that for you. You'll figure it out with us. It hits different when it's coming from you who's been through the program, and you're not even in the program for that long. So it's like, what would you say, knowing what you know now, if let's say that you didn't have the resources, but you can be resourceful, like, would you make the same decisions? And let me know your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely would. And, for us, like we, like think of it, it came to a fact, like we didn't even expect, like I would do it knowing that, like even if I weren't going to get results in a couple weeks, like we did, like I would have still done it because we didn't expect to get results this fast. And yet we did, so the ROI was like, it's been coming so quickly that it just makes even more sense. But yeah, I mean, I would absolutely do this, because the thing is that there's so much within the structure of this program that it seems almost impossible to like fail, right? And so because there's so little risk, like what do you have to lose? Like you come on board and you learn how to do things that so many other people in the online world don't know how to do, and do something that's, that you love. And honestly, like you could come on, like, it can be hard. Like you see how much a program is, and you're like, you start sweating bullets a little bit, and you're like, I don't know, that's a lot. But think about, for us, it was like, we thought about how much we could miss out on. Like, what was the cost of us not doing it? Like we could potentially, make up to like, in the future, we want to be doing 6-figure launches and things like that. And we know we're capable of that, but we wouldn't be able to do that without learning from you and from this program. So for us, it was like huge to understand, what we would be missing out on by not committing, and we had to be resourceful too, because like I said, even though we've had a ton of results, like we are caught up in so many programs right now that our budget for a program, so to speak, was like, kind of tight. So we had to be, we decided that this was something that was worth being resourceful for. And I'm glad we made that decision.
I love it, Ryan. To wrap this up, I want, and this interview is as much for you as it is for me. I know you're answering a lot of objection handling type of questions for me, but I want you to very clearly say, who do you help? And then also, how do they get a hold of you? You know, there's some people who listen to our interviews might not resonate with me, but totally resonate with you.
Sure.
And, you know, like, and then go and sign up with you. So how can they find you, and who do you help? And I know you said that earlier. I like to just have you repeat it again. And yeah, and where can they go to find out more about what you have to offer?
Appreciate that. So I can pretty easily be found on Facebook. It's where I'm the most active. My name is Ryan Witten, so you can just search me, look for my face, and that's where you'll find me. I post a lot. My content is continuing to get out there. We have Reels now and all those things, but so that's where I can be found. And who I help is I help entrepreneurs, generally entrepreneurs that are above 10, 20K mark, somewhere around that range. Somebody that wants to basically take time and understand, like, I already know how to perform. You know, I have a certain set of results, but I want to get to the next thing. Like, we help those people. Like, I activate those people. I show you how to collapse time and then get those incredibly ridiculous results quickly, you know, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever that is, whether and like I've said, you know, some of the client results that we've had is I had a client recently close a $50 million contract. I've had other clients, you know, make $26,000 while struggling with depression, but make $26,000, eliminate depression, amongst other things, in 8 weeks. I've had just, you know, lots of really amazing things. And we do so through taking the human being, providing a holistic approach, and teaching you how to master the world that lies on the inside and then create those external results. So I find that oftentimes the nerds, the intellectuals, I have great conversations with those people. Those are a majority of the people I speak to because I'm a nerd. So, but that's kind of what I do. And I really focus on just completely transforming somebody's life in every way. So yeah, so find me on Facebook and add me if that sounds like something you want to do.
Yeah, I love that. And I truly believe in the power of what you teach, because a lot of the physical and external reflections of our world, you know, the things that we get is a reflection of our internal mind, and how
Absolutely.
we have, it's a lot of inner work that enables people to just be able to break through to the next level. And I believe in it so strongly that, you know, I consistently invest in my own inner, just inner work all the time. So I love it. And it is the reason why, you know, I'm able to move a little bit more easily through the world. It's the reason why you probably can go and launch like very quickly, just go for it. And that makes the biggest difference. And it comes down to when you can move, when your mind is free for you to move, even though even though the circumstances of life can be there, but you have such a strong vision, you have so much conviction, there's clarity, there's release of, you know, it allows you to not have to pay the opportunity tax, which can be, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month and millions a year that you're missing out on if money is, you know, something that would help alleviate pieces of your life. And, you know, for some of your clients, their wins are non-monetary. You know, they're to struggle with depression and then to be free of that. That's, you know, all the money in the world. What is your happiness? What's your peace of mind worth? So I love that your clients, you displayed monetary wins and non-monetary wins. I love that. All right, you guys, follow Ryan. I put his first and last name in the scroll bar. And then this interview will be repurposed on our social media. So I can't wait to interview you again for the next win. And we will continue this journey together. I absolutely love you guys. Go ahead.
So I would love to interview you on my page, if you're open to it.
Well, well, say less. Just kidding. Yeah, of course.
All right.
I have
Awesome.
I have a link. I have a interview Kim calendar that my team can send you. And otherwise, if you have your schedule, they can book that call. Nico will be able to do it.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, Ryan. And I know, Allyson, you are here in spirit and you're not here in face, but I just want to say thank you so much for you too. You're his yin yang, and, you guys are doing this together. So have a great, wonderful rest of your day to you too, Allyson. And thank you so much, Ryan. I'm going to go ahead and put you into the green room. Guys, follow Ryan Witten on Facebook, and can't wait to interview you on the next achievement. All right.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay. Bye, Ryan. Okay.
See ya.
So I put Ryan back into the green room. Ryan can click the X button, be on his merry way. And guys, just to remind you, Cart, if you booked a call, then we are holding your spot for a few more days. Otherwise, Cart did close on Tuesday. It is Thursday. So I want you guys to know that if you are on the fence and you listen to Ryan, we don't take everyone. We do qualify you. So there is certain types of qualifiers that we look for to work with us. And unfortunately, we have limited spots because everyone does have a one-on-one coach. Our level of and quality of the program that we put together is, like Ryan said, a combination of step-by-step videos so that you know exactly where to go, as well as one-on-one support to diagnose the things that you know hasn't been working. And sometimes you don't even see it because no one's really looking into your world the way that we look into your world, the way that we can help translate your expertise so that your people can understand what it is that you bring to the table. Because, a lot of us have the curse of the expert, and we are your translator to the rest of the world. And I am excited to congratulate those of you who already joined us this week. I'm super, super excited. And with that said, again, it is QuickLinkConvert. If you want to go and find out more information and schedule a call with us, we don't work with everyone, so only if you qualify. It's QuickLinkConvert.com/ignite. You can go ahead and put in your $500 deposit to go and move to the front of the line. Our calendar is fully booked out, but we can prioritize you if you do put in your refundable $500 deposit. I am going to be interviewing another client tomorrow, so watch out for that. Otherwise, I am super excited, and I'll see you in the next video. By the way, this is what Miami looks like at night. All right. Talk to you guys soon. See you in the next video. Oh yeah. If you like that video, then you will love all the resources that I have over at kimcdang.com. That is KIMCDANG.com. There you will find all my courses, my extensions, all the offers that I have, as well as a lot of free resources if you are just getting started.